I can't see the thing, so I don't know when I can yell, caw!
I was vaguely tempted just to, just kind of sit here and see how long you'd wait, but I decided not to do that.
You can't hold back the caw.
Well, we've
Every
got our
10
opening.
seconds, like clockwork. Hello and welcome to a Star to Steer for By, Star Trek and sometimes other stuff podcast. Today we are doing another fanfic episode.
Woo!
So if we mentioned this about, I think, over 2 months ago, we said we were going to do this. Some of us started working right away. Some of us started working earlier this morning.
Oh, I thought about it a little bit yesterday.
But we have a great episode for you today of Star Trek Star Wars mashup. As always, I am Ames.
I am Caitlin.
This is Jake.
And this is Chris.
And we are on our Tales of the Holodeck episode of a 10 Forward. This is 10 Forward number 9.
Woo! And our second anniversary-ish episode.
Yeah, the episode is released close enough-ish to when we first started airing, which was 2 years ago. Holy cap.
Which is insane. Remember 2 years ago when the world seemed sensible?
And we were starting a Star Wars podcast? That's not Star Trek podcast? That's not sensible at all. Remember 2 years ago we were saying this will last 1 week?
Yeah.
And then it almost didn't even make it that far because somebody fucked up the first episode.
I did.
2 years ago, the world was such a hopeful place.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah.
The Last Jedi hadn't come out.
Look, it has a bitchin' lightsaber duel.
Yeah.
Discovery hadn't come out.
I like disco.
You would.
And yes, I called it disco just because I know that annoys you.
Every time, it's just like I can only picture that meme of Spock doing some kind of a disco dance.
That's fair.
That's the only reason that would ever be applicable. Spock.
Okay.
All right.
Okie
Are you
dokie.
going to
What
tell
next?
anything more?
I don't think there's any more to tell. I think that was all the background that we gave of...
Yeah.
We drew out of hats whether or not we would do TOS or TNG, and then we drew out of the hat which series of Star Wars we were going to do. And we promised you something great, and some of us will deliver with that.
I was going to say, and one person might actually nail it.
Possibly.
So the order has been randomly decided before the show with a dice roll. So
And it's almost the same order as last
it's
time.
almost the same order as last time, but that's just by chance.
Well, and actually, it's totally just clockwise, starting with Ames, too, which is really funny. So let's
Oh,
make
that
it
is
really
funny.
easy.
So I'd say when you get to you, just say the series that you chose so we remember.
Yep.
And then...
Because sometimes it won't always be clear because there's a lot of the same characters.
Yeah, and some of
Or-
them,
or
and some of them might even seem like they're written about the incorrect series, possibly. But that's only a possibility, so it's just helpful if we know ahead of time, in case that possibility should occur. If somebody made a mistake and didn't know what prequel meant,
No one here at this table makes those kinds of mistakes.
That could not have happened. So anyway.
I'm gonna.
I mean, the prequel should come before the sequel, right? There's a sequel, and then the thing that was before the sequel is a prequel to the sequel.
On the other hand...
What is the thing that's in between? Is it just a quel? What the fuck?
I have heard the term midquel thrown around, but I hate that word.
That's
Interquel.
stupid.
Ooh.
How about we just call it the dark years, the okay years, and the...
Which one's the end?
You decide.
The new stuff. Most people, however, know that episodes 1 through 3 have been pretty much called the prequels forever.
Since the late 90s.
Yeah, I understand. Okay. I understand. That's right. I know. Of course I know that.
Yeah, and of course that will be reflected in your fanfic. Anyway,
Absolutely.
before we get to Jake's fanfic and figure out what the fuck he actually wrote, I rolled on 10. What did I roll?
12. No.
10.
10.
I rolled
sorry.
a 10.
10, 10, 2,
We used the 2d6s.
We did. You're so clever. I wanted to remind our listeners, 8,000 years ago, I drew Star Trek TNG and the Star Wars Anthology series, which to the current date consists of only Rogue One and Solo in my draws. So...
What about your drawers?
My drawers. No.
Wait a minute.
Yours
Wait,
is short.
so now I have a question.
Mine's like 10 pages.
What?
Is it?
Is it really?
It's pretty long.
Dude, mine's like less than 1,000 words. So it's gonna suck, but at least it'll be over quickly.
That's what I usually think.
So wait, what's your question, though?
The Star Wars movies, did we also count, 7 and 8?
Yeah, those are the
That was
sequels.
the
That's what I
sequel.
got.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought that we just did... Wow. So I thought that we only did...
This was so long ago, I completely
TNG
forgot what it was.
so long ago. I thought that we only did TOS TNG, which is right, and original Star Wars and prequel Star Wars, because those are the only ones that are
Yeah, no.
finished. I didn't even realize how lucky I got with this garbage.
Yeah,
I
no, I got the sequels, and Ames has the
anthologies.
the anthologies.
Yeah, because we decided we would do this right after Solo came out.
Solo, upon further introspection.
Yeah, is still garbage.
No, I have come to sort of remember it very fondly.
It was
Not
fun.
unlike-
it was a
not-
fun film.
No, I think
that
Rogue
was the
One is where
consensus.
it's at.
Oh, I
Rogue
love
One
Rogue
is-
One. Rogue One is definitely one of the best.
One of the best Star Wars movies, full stop.
And it's definitely the best of the new run, meaning
Yeah.
the post-prequel stuff.
The most recent couple of years stuff. Anyway,
Plus it had K2 in it, and he's the best. Because Alan Tudyk is the
point.
best.
All right, let's actually dive in because I have almost 2,300 words of reading to do here.
Alan Tudyk should play
Too many. Skip the a bunch of it.
Oh,
But
fuck
then he
you! I've been working hard on my story.
Read it fast.
I haven't.
I'm gonna browse Reddit.
Well, if we stop bantering.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, here we go.
Is that in the story, or was that just...
No, that's not in the story. The story is titled The Solo Algorithm. I'd been staring at the plans for the Death Star for the entire morning, poring over every detail of the computer code until I could see them burning on the backs of my eyelids. My head buzzed. My office appeared blurry. This was easily the biggest project I'd worked on, so complex that I had to keep a cheat sheet next to my monitor, with all the algorithms scrawled in my unsightly handwriting. My intercom shouted at me every few minutes with new requests until I had to turn on the auto response so I could claw at the blueprints for some futile minutes in peace. I came to the determination that whoever had designed this project had fucked up. I flipped the intercom back on. "You have 1,001 messages," screeched the mechanized voice of the auto-response system. "Press 1 to hear your messages." I dialed in the number for the inventory manager, whose line was also going to auto-response. A curt, concise, "Inventory, please consult the database." Rolling my chair behind my desk, I bumped the rear wall of my cube. We were not allowed windows. We were not allowed doors. We were not allowed to see any of the other workers in untold other cubes, fitted only with enough room to sit at our computers and stare at the wall of monitors while we incessantly worked through what was assumably the workday. Sometimes I could hear the occupants of neighboring cubes bump against my wall and mutter some profanity, occasionally an apology. A simple, tiny houseplant I'd custom designed and printed sat on my desk so I wouldn't go stir-crazy. I brought up the database and started searching through it. We could build starships. We could design worlds. We could create artificial beings with personalities that could fool a Turing test. But whoever maintained the database was the true mastermind of this operation. The task sheet was several thousand pages of cells that delineated the job breakdown because we had to account for everything, no matter how minute, and whoever had bungled the Death Star would be on it somewhere. It was afternoon when I tracked down the culprit out of everyone else developing the plans. I pulled up the extension number with no name, we didn't go by those, and called their intercom. They didn't have their auto-response on. "Make it quick, I've got to finish this damn thing," came the genderless voice on the other line. I would never meet this person, as I would never meet any person here. It's possible I'd spoken with them many times on countless other projects, and just as possible our degrees of separation had been infinite until today. Hi. Say, have you noticed something wrong with the Death Star plans?" I asked. I stared at my little houseplant and drummed my fingers on my desk. My counterpart groaned. "You're obviously going to have to be a whole lot more specific than that." I could hear them typing nonstop through my earpiece, working endlessly while we talked. I pulled up the design plans and zoomed in. The pixels fuzzed and then sharpened as I scrutinized a certain section that had gotten me scratching my head. "Well, take a look at the super laser reactor," I started. "I'm kind of reviewing the code, and if there were a pressurized explosion there, the whole station will blow, yep," they said as matter-of-factly as possible. "Oh, so you're working on it. I figured it was a mistake, and I just wanted to make sure." "No, you don't get it. It's supposed to do that." I stopped fidgeting in my chair and stared at the intercom as if I expected to see something there. My brow thoroughly furrowed, I managed a, "Why?" They snorted at me. Players have to be able to beat the Death Star. It's the damn trigger for the next cutscene. It sounded really simple and obvious when they said it. We builders don't always think about the reasons behind the designs we construct. We just do them to check them off from the inexhaustible database, which assigns us a new project and on into oblivion. They continued. No one's going to play the damn game if there's no way to beat this level. Didn't you read the wireframe specs? The flaw is there intentionally for the storyline to... Oh, god damn it, shit on a fuck. Hang on.
Shit on a fuck.
Nice.
I jerked my chair away from my desk and smacked it against the wall. My adjacent unseen neighbor yelled something muffled, and I could hear them give the wall a hit with the palm of their hand. Sorry, I called out. In my earpiece, the code writer on the intercom was still letting out a raucous stream of profanity. Cock-ass fucking shithole piece of hell, they shouted.
Piece of hell!
Thank you, Caitlin. I hesitated between hanging up on them so they could get back to their obviously important work and apologizing for existing in the first place to wreck their day so utterly. Oh, geez, I stammered. I shouldn't have brought it up. I'm sure you've got it under control. I'm sorry to have bothered you. No, for fuck's sake, it's fine, dumbass. The Death Star is ready to roll out, damn it. It's just this other project keeps not coming the hell together. I'm supposed to be coding Han Solo, and he keeps coming out fucked up. I'm sorry, I squeaked. And stop apologizing. Now I've got to undo a day's worth of edits on his stupid charisma levels, but then his whole personality generator will be imbalanced, and he'll just be too much of a miscreant for this assignment. This whole character sheet is fucking impossible. I wish I could just start from scratch and delete this son of a bitch. My hands were shaking as I listened to them shout at me over the intercom, and I focused on my tiny potted plant. I had made it to give me something real to look at in this gray, claustrophobic mimicry of an office, otherwise made up of screens and machines. Everything else was black or metal, even my hulking middle desk. The plant was just a couple of tiny leaves, simple, uncluttered. I could have made a flower, but the greenness of the itty-bitty leaves were just what I needed to make myself feel composed, justified. Like my existence in this world were validated. I took a quick breath before gliding my chair closer to the desk. Well, then why don't you? I asked. Why don't I what? Came the clipped reply. I heard more frantic clattering, which echoed from their keyboard, more muffled cursing. Start from scratch. I do it all the time. What are you talking about? That's a waste of time. I've already gotten so far into developing this feckless cad. You have no idea how long, how many hours I spent staring at. Oh, and he's got this fucking stupid ponytail I'm just sick of too. I just want to cut it off I'll cut it right off his damn head. I tried not to laugh. Smiling, I went on. You don't know about the Star Trek universe, do you? What? No, the what? All of the developers loved the Star Trek universe. It was enormous. It contained nearly everything we'd ever created to date. And everything in it came from mistake after mistake after mistake, growing and evolving into the most realistic world we'd ever all built. And it would never see the light of day. It's only where we've been dumping our botched projects for as long as I've ever known. What, you can't delete this Solo guy? Then I say scrap him for anything useful, rename the original file to anything else, Okana, or I don't know, literally anything, and dump it into the Trek ether. Here, I'll send you a link that a bunch of us have been using. I've got a ton of crap floating around in there. I found the link to the virtual environment and messaged it to this developer's extension. Over my earpiece, I could hear the message pop up on their screen with a cartoonish bounce sound. This is a fucking live world? They asked, incredulous. I mean, yeah, sure. It's programmed to never leave the test environment, so it'll never be found, but yeah. You put something in there and you get it off your plate, and you can, start over from the beginning. I do it all the time. I was on the Game of Thrones project and broke one of the Dothraki's foreheads somehow. Really rough day, don't even ask. So I renamed them Klingons and basically threw them in there. Now they're one of the biggest races in the universe. This garbage universe. Ish. It's been running on its own for a long time now, and all the beings in there have their free will turned on, so they just sort of go and write their own stories and stuff like that. It's a downright lifesaver sometimes. I'd heard about the Star Trek universe early on from another developer. This jury-rigged quick fix had been passed along from person to person in this office as a way to work around the efficiency checks and the quality assurance, and it was rather brilliant. Another coder who kept bungling a Gandalf for their Lord of the Rings virtual reality game told me about it. They couldn't get the long white hair on the wizard to attach properly, so they just shaved it all off, renamed the file Jean-Luc Picard, and shoved it in there. I heard that character's a starship captain now. As far as I can tell, the first usage of the Star Trek universe was when someone was building the Master from the Doctor Who VR, accidentally overpowered the character, renamed him Q, and gave him sentience. After that cover-up, the cover-up of that mistake, the whole galaxy started to come together on its own and turned into this enormous, complex behemoth where characters have no idea that they are programs. The worlds are first drafts that have evolved into huge, functioning civilizations, and the stories write themselves into the cosmos of what's effectively a galactic recycling bin. My counterpart was silent on the other end of the line for a long time, without even more typing to be heard. They spoke in an awestruck whisper. I'm looking at this universe and holy shit. Yeah, I know. Thanks a shit ton for showing me. Hey, no prob, really just doing what anyone would do. Who are all these space elves I'm seeing? I don't know, probably Vulcans? They're sort of neat, I said. Why isn't this what we're building? They finally exclaimed in ecstasy. People would play the hell out of an open-world sandbox program like this. It's fucking majestic. It's everything. I didn't have an answer for that. We developers try not to dwell too much on our purpose in life, spent forever logged into office cubes, staring at blinding monitors where we create everything the database tells us to, whenever a project calls for a new character or item or vehicle or anything, no matter how big or how small. We have to account for all of it, while we literally build the world and everything represented in it. Yeah, it's pretty great. I hesitated for a second, while I couldn't stop smiling at the sheer splendor of the world we'd unknowingly nurtured. Hey, can I tell you something, friend? What's that? Can you go check how a planet called Binus is doing? Binus, sure, let me see. I heard some clicking and waited for a reaction to what they might see. There's a little humanoid being down there. Cute little shit. I trembled, grinning, tears starting to form in the corners of my eyes. That little humanoid, that's me. That's you. You built yourself? Something like myself. Like an interpretation of myself. I kind of wanted some version of me to exist somewhere in the playable universe. Maybe it's stupid. No, it's not stupid. It's cool, they scolded me. You named yourself 01? It's from my extension number. Oh my god. There was another pause and more clicking I could hear. Finally, the other spoke up. I'm going to build myself to keep you company. I'm going to be 10. Oh, you don't have to do that. I was surely blushing, though the other developer would never know it. Already did. I just copied your file and mirror imaged it. Super easy. I opened the universe and watched the two binars, me and a nearly identical programmer I would never meet, as they conversed rapidly to each other, going about their days as if they were real people, ignorant that they were just two pieces of code living in a virtual world. I should get back to my jackass Han Solo problem, I said. I may keep the vest, but everything else is just horseshit. Sure. Nice talking with you. You too. Hey, another suggestion, I said. What's that? You should print yourself a houseplant for your office. They're nice, I think. I logged out of the office environment at the end of the workday and pulled the virtual reality set from my head. I immediately felt 10 pounds lighter. And that night, as I stared out my apartment window at a slightly pixelated setting sun and a program depicting a city full of apartment buildings implying masses and masses of people, I felt optimistic about the world for the first time in a long time. Computer, I said, as I stretched my legs and shook out my arms. Load program Star Wars, Escape from Corellia. The end.
That was awesome.
That's very good.
Boom sauce!
Escape from Corellia?
It's basically the opening of Solo.
Oh, I'm dumb.
So I like that on the one hand, I almost had to fire you because you're on a Star Trek podcast and decided that Star Wars was made out of Star Trek was made out of all the junk people couldn't get right. But then you saved it at the end by having them in awe of how fancy it was. Also, I drew the houseplant.
Yay, houseplant!
Oh, it's so cute.
That's a plant. Put that on the face.
Wow, so I get to follow that, huh? With
Yep.
my
I'm
piece
sorry.
of shit.
I'm sorry, Caitlin.
Okay, after I say the opening line, can you guys hum the Star Wars theme under this, please?
Yeah, sure.
Can I do more than hum it?
Which Star Wars theme?
Do you know the words?
The Star Wars theme?
There's words to the Star Wars theme?
Of course I
Yeah,
do.
of course there are.
I mean, Bill Murray wrote them in 1979.
All right.
There is actually a
Alright,
sketch
but
where
remember that I'm gonna definitely need the ben 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 part, because that's how when I start reading the rest of it.
Okay.
Alright.
Do you need the 20th Century Fox build-up, or should we just launch it right out?
Can we do the 21st Century Fox thing now, so that when you start it...
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
That was better than this fanfic. Let's move on. Long ago, in a galaxy far, far away...
Star Wars! Nothing but Star Wars!
No, he knows what I actually need.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, fuck, now I'm all screwed up.
Long ago, in a galaxy far, far away...
Oh, God, Jake, you fucked me up.
That one.
What the fuck are you doing?
Fuck, I fucked it up now.
The
battle between the Trekkers and the Wargians were reaching unimaginable heights. Attacks were launched by both sides. Convention centers burned to the ground. Massive bonfires of DVDs, books, and action figures lit. Figures of key players from both sides of the war burned in effigy. And if that was not enough, cyber attacks were launched. Websites hacked and information erased. Or worse, the ever-growing list of what is and isn't canon was meddled with, altered beyond recognition. It was during this increasingly deadly campaign of violence when, with no warning, a stranger from the stars came down to Earth to meet its people and judge whether they were ready to join the rest of the universe among the stars.
Ba 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 ba.
No, then it goes down like a... And they pan in on the planet.
Cool.
My story didn't get this treatment.
They didn't
You
ask
didn't
for
ask
it.
for it. I
Also,
don't read
yours
good...
is more an episode of Black Mirror, really.
It's a little bit what I was
And
going
mine
for.
is more a piece of shit that could use all the gimmicks it can handle.
Come on, you're in the middle of the story. Keep going.
People of Earth, my name is Klaatu. I come in peace, said the extremely humanoid man who had stepped out of the unexpected spaceship. He watched with a grimace as a robe-clad figure swung a plastic lightsaber at a man seated in a strange wheelchair with a distant look on his face. The toy bounced off the wheelchair's mostly cardboard and duct tape body with a pathetic thump. This behavior is preposterous. Why are you making violence against your fellow man? Every head in the crowd turned to stare at him, eyebrows raised in horror, some mouths agape. Are you kidding? You don't know? A man dressed in a too small Darth Vader costume asked, incredulously. There is much we don't know about your people, Klaatu said, spreading his hands wide. That is why I am here. Your planet is being considered to join the universal community, but if you are unable to prove yourselves to be civil, you may suffer dire consequences. Like what? Cursed to watch nothing but Star Trek V for all eternity? One Han Solo garbed fellow joked to a group dressed as the band from Jabba the Hutt's palace. He's got a band, right?
Yeah.
Great, perfect.
It's like a blue elephant.
Yeah, exactly, that guy. Like your planet would be blown to smithereens to stop you from spreading your toxicity to other galaxies, Klaatu replied coldly. A gasp rose from the crowd, and each faction started chattering nervously among themselves. Out of the crowd stepped one man who said, "Listen, we're all adults here." This Trekker was dressed in a perfect replica of Kirk's Wrath of Khan-era uniform. If these bojos could just admit the Trek is superior, there could finally be peace. Fat chance, lame brain. All in attendance gasped, for an impossibly tall young woman popped out of the top of a gonk droid to face the wannabe Kirk. Everybody knows that Star Wars is the greatest thing ever. Your beloved Star Wars is more a fairy tale than science fiction, one red-faced, red-shirted Trekker shouted. Imagine weirdly dressed magicians running around using magic spells and calling it sci-fi. Oh, please. Like, mixing matter and antimatter and using lasers to power dilithium crystals is so scientific. Sounds about as wibbly-wobbly as a Stephen Moffat episode of Doctor Who, cried an impressively outfitted Greedo. We didn't need movies to capture the imagination and love of our audience, countered a young woman dressed as a Tellarite, diddly bob swaying. But you did need your audience to keep your garbage scow afloat for 3 seasons, retorted a man clad in a stormtrooper uniform. Without that letter campaign, you'd have been dead in the water. 2 words, rebel scum, spat a Nurse Chapel cosplayer. Christmas special! With a roar, a group of a dozen fully suited Ewoks charged ahead, bowling over a trio of yeoman Rands.
Oh no!
In response, a group of Gorn threw their styrofoam rocks at a gender-swapped C-3PO. Or was it just Joan Rivers' character from Spaceballs? Startling her and causing her to lose her balance from atop her golden roller skates. You remember she has roller skates at one point. She gets dragged behind the princess. An exceptionally strong-looking Uhura grabbed a pair of Princess Leia doubles and conked their heads together Three Stooges style.
So a normal Uhura.
Yes. Suddenly there came a gasp from the gathered crowd, where once there had stood only the man known as Klaatu. 2 Force ghosts flickered into view. They were the ghosts of Yoda and Mr. Spock. It is illogical to disagree violently about your preferred form of entertainment, said Spock, his eyebrow raised as he looked over the crowd. From what I learned in the company of humans, it is what makes us unique and individual that is most special. Agree to disagree, but do not go to war over something so insignificant. Live and let live, you must, agreed Yoda. That's it, I'm just going to do it normal from now on because I don't do a good Yoda. Worth being excluded from the universal community, it is not. Laugh at you one day, your grandchildren will. And all the nerds who had gathered looked at each other and realized they weren't so different. Sure, some of them preferred their science fiction a little more science-y, and some preferred it a little more magic-y, but they both agreed spaceships, aliens, and defeating evil was cool, didn't they? This is the part where there should be more, and then it just kind of ends. Live long and prosper, said Spock, raising his hand in the memorable Vulcan farewell. May the Force be with you, said Yoda, attempting with his tridactyl fingers to mimic Spock's gesture. Aww. He struggled for a moment before muttering, for the birds this is. Prosper and live long. The Jedi Master was in the middle of a grumble as the legions of dorks, dweebs, nerds, and geeks came together and embraced, and with a satisfied smile and a shake of his wizened head, Yoda and Spock started to fade away, back to wherever they had come from. Balance had been obtained, and would continue long, long into the future. This was a dumb war anyway. The crowd turned as one to where a tall, thin man in a floppy hat, frock coat, and impossibly long scarf stood. Classic Who is far superior to either of these lame franchises. Would you care for a jelly baby? And that's the end.
Look at you go.
So you're welcome. At least it was short.
Yeah, it was good.
Nah.
It was funny.
It's a good idea.
Jesus, how do you do that voice? It's the Andorians that have diddly bops.
Oh. Fuck! I wondered if I had got it wrong. I'm glad you said that. I'll fix it. I'll fix it in post. Yeah, so the way this started in my mind, because I really actually, I know I said I started thinking about it yesterday, the core idea was in my head for a while. And what I really wanted to do was going to get way out of scope really fast. Because I wanted it to
my
be...
story was.
No, your story was perfect. I wanted to do, like, almost a courtroom drama. And I wanted it to be, like...
Q as judge?
No,
it was still TOS.
And it was still going to be Klaatu anyway, but...
Klaatu from The Day the Earth Stood Still?
Yeah. So Klaatu was still going to be the judge. Like, that premise was going to be the same, but there was going to be, I don't remember who I was trying to figure out who to have from, oh no, that's what I was going to do. I think I was going to basically do, like, Data as the lawyer on one side. I know he's from TNG, but it doesn't say I can't use TNG. It just says I have to use TOS. And I was probably going to use Spock on the other side just because I needed something. There were going to be, like, evidence and not just, like, stupid references to, like, reasons why the shows are not good.
To, like, explain your shows.
Caitlin does.
Caitlin
wrote this in
apologizing for your story.
I feel guilty for everything I do.
Oh, you did a very good job.
Oh, thank you, Jake.
You did a very good job.
You're very kind. I appreciate it.
I wanted to think what the collective group for a group of Gorns would be, like how there's a gaggle of geese and what else is there? All kinds of wacky things.
Fuck. I meant to say that they threw their rocks with a resounding fuck. I blew it.
That should be the name of a group of Gorn. Of Gorn.
That sounds right.
Oh, I like that. Did your story have a title?
No. God, no.
Yeah,
Untitled. The title was, I finished writing it 5 minutes before we started recording. P.S. I love you. The Day the Earth Stood Still 2. Electric Klaatu-Garoo.
Nice.
Electric Klaatu Project.
The Day the Convention Stood Still.
Ooh,
There you go. That's good. I like that.
My turn?
Yeah.
Yep.
If you wish.
Okay.
We're just blasting through these.
So mine is
We should have done 2 each.
mine is the
I'm sorry.
original series and the prequel Star Wars.
Whichever ones you think those are.
Yeah. Well, you'll see what I did. Now mine's a bit different because y'all wrote like narrative, prose.
Yeah, and so did you last time we did a fan.
And I did last time, but this time I want to do something a little different. This one's going to be.
Did you write a rap?
No.
Oh.
This one's going to be more of a performance because it's a script.
Okay.
Are you going to do voices? Or?
I will do my best at the voices because I kind of have to.
Are you going to tell what the characters are so that we can tell from the voice?
Well, I'll tell you.
Or will it be obvious?
I'll try to make it obvious. If you're confused, hold up a hand or shout, and I'll explain. And there's a bug flying around. It's really annoying.
It's summer. It's gross.
Okay. I call it. I don't have a title for it. I'm going to come up with a title for it right now. This is Pawn Far Enough.
Nice.
It's not at all relevant to the story. But...
Oh, no.
All right, anyway. Captain's log. Stardate 5210.4. While en route to investigate signals emanating from Quastar M17, the Enterprise has picked up another mysterious signal, possibly of a ship in distress. On the bridge, Uhura sits at her station intently, having just received a strange signal. Spock and McCoy stand nearby. Kirk sits in his chair, filling out paperwork on a pad. It was there for a moment, then gone. It sounded almost like old Earth doo-wop music.
Chapel?
That's Uhura.
Why is she from the South?
I don't know. Do what music? Yeah.
McCoy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got that one.
I would expect him to know.
Doo-wop, Doctor. A musical style popular in the mid-20th century North America. If my memory serves. Why, Mr. Spock, I didn't know you were a music aficionado. Merely a historical interest, not an aesthetic one. What's music from 20th century Earth doing all the way out here? The only known Earthship to have traveled to this sector was over 90 years ago. The USS Falcon, under the command of Captain Benjamin Canopy, went missing and was presumed lost, along with all hands. Well, if any of them survive, maybe their descendants are still out there, playing doo-doo music.
Sorry.
I was able to localize the transmission to an uncharted M-class planet orbiting a binary star system. Kirk hands the pad off to a young yeoman and looks up, joining the conversation. Gentlemen, we have a date with a Quastar. Those gas particles aren't going to measure themselves.
Quastar.
If we increase to warp 7, we can divert to investigate and be back on course, losing only 12 hours. Come on, Jim. Half the crew is crawling up the walls with all this measuring and star charting. I think we could all use a diversion, you especially. Bones, I've never took you for a music fan. Remind me to let you borrow some of my classical recordings sometime.
Bones hasn't slept in days.
That's so-
apparently.
On second thought, never mind. I'm too young for hearing loss. Lieutenant Eric's, plot a course to the binary system.
No!
Warp 7. Aye, aye, Captain!
Yep, that is
Alright. Tatooine, a desert planet. Nothing in all directions except dunes. A landing party consisting of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy beams down. Are you sure these are the right coordinates?
Wow, what has happened to him?
Absolutely, Doctor. The music is originating from a position approximately 100 meters east, beyond that dune. I don't hear anything except the sound of my skin drying out. The party sets up a dune. When they arrive at the top, beyond that, they see what appears to be a classic 50s diner.
Oh, no.
Well, Spock, I guess those ears are good for something. The group proceeds down the dune and enters the diner. Inside, rock and roll music is blaring. A robotic waitress on wheels from behind a counter. no. Welcome to Dexter's Diner, boys! Counter a booth! Excuse me? Do you want to sit at the counter or a booth? A booth, please. Kirk holds up his hand. We'd like to speak to the owner. That's Dexter. He's in the back. I'll get him for you. You need menus? Please. The waitress produces some menus and rolls off to the back. Very curious, Captain. If I'm not mistaken, this type of establishment was known as a diner, Spock. There's one just like it in the town I grew up in. It smells like something's burning. That's the grease bones. They used to cook everything in it. Eggs, bacon, pancakes, milkshakes. Everything was boiled. Everything was boiled in large vats of oil. It's a wonder your species survived consuming such hazardous materials. From the back steps a large, four-armed humanoid lizard man. His shirt is covered in grease. He lumbers forth to greet the landing party. I'm the owner, Jetster, Dexter Jetster. And if this is about that health inspection, I already vacuumed up the sludge from the soda fountain. We're not here for an inspection. Well, that's another story. Please come in. Dexter guides the group to a booth. Kirk and Spock sit on one side, and McCoy slides in on the other. Dexter sits down next to McCoy, who is clearly uncomfortable with their host's odor. What can I do for you, gentlemen? We're from the United Federation of Planets. We picked up your music and wanted to drop in for some bites. See, I knew investing in that transmitter would pay off. I don't get a lot of customers just strolling by. My old location got a lot more foot traffic. Old location? Yeah, I used to have a place on Coruscant, but the Empire's new healthy eating initiatives were going to force me to serve salads. So I packed it in and moved here. I see. It's an interesting restaurant. We have something like it back where we come from. Dexter lets out a loud belly laugh. I doubt that, Two Arms. There's nothing like this place anywhere in the galaxy. I'd stake my reputation on it. How can you be so sure? Because I'm the only one with the secret. Let me get you fellas a round of blue milkshakes on the house. He walks back into the kitchen. Well, he seems hygienic. Captain, we should endeavor to find out what his secret is. Undoubtedly, it will lead us back to the Falcon and the fate of Captain Canopy and his crew. My thought as well, Spock. Places like this would often have a back room with an office and sometimes a safe. See what you can find. Spock gets up and takes out his tricorder. Before long, he has wandered out of sight. My God, Jim, this menu is practically an instruction manual for heart disease. Corned beef, nice. Fried chicken, and something called Noah's Ark, which has 2 helpings of every type of meat. Bones, I thought you southern boys liked a hearty meal. Hearty is one thing, but this is just reckless. The waitress rolls out with a tray of 3 milkshakes. You thought about what you fellas want? We'll have 2 arcs and oatmeal for the Vulcan. 2 arcs and an oatmeal. Got it. Say, where is your friend anyway? He went to make use of the restroom facilities. Ah, he's in the can. The waitress rolls away again. A moment passes and Spock returns. We ordered for you. Thank you, Doctor. I hope my absence didn't raise suspicion. I told her you were using the cans. I see, Captain. I managed to find an office, as you suggested. There was a small safe containing what appeared to be currency, pornographic literature, and this. Spock presents a VHS cassette tape. The case is worn and battered, the writing unreadable. I believe it is a primitive recording medium using plastic tape to magnetically store analog information. Just then, Dexter emerges carrying a large tray of food. As he sets down the plates, McCoy immediately starts eating. I hope you guys are hungry. Hey! What's that? Is that the sacred tape? Mr. Jetster, we're here investigating the disappearance of a ship from our homeworld. This tape may have information that could solve a decades-old mystery. It's imperative that we know where you got this. Wait. Do you guys know Obi-Wan? Who? Obi-Wan Kenobi. I guess you sort of look like him. He's a hermit who lives out in the Dune Sea. Actually, I probably shouldn't say anything. He keeps a low profile. I think he owes someone some money or something. This Kenobi, he gave you this. You see, I used to be one of the top chefs on Coruscant. Ran the best restaurant in the capital. Senators, Jedi, you name them, they were sitting at my tables. Then, one day, I kind of accidentally served some spoiled food and gave Kit Fisto a major case of the squirts. McCoy drops his fork.
No! He loves to eat.
Anyway, that was it for me. Until I met Obi-Wan. He kept telling me all about this great food from his childhood. Eventually, he had to leave town for some sort of trade dispute. I think he used to work for a union or something. Anyway, he let me crash at his place and I found this tape. And it was like a revelation. I got a loan from the Hutts and opened up my diner. The one you had to close. That's right. Truth be told, business wasn't so great. Obi-Wan was my only regular customer. When he left, business took a dive. That's when I had the idea to come here. He's still my only customer most days, but at least he's a customer. Anyway, that's the story. You said he comes in most days. Has he been here today? Actually, now that you mention it, I haven't seen him today. I better call him and see what's up. Dexter walks over to an old rotary telephone on the wall. McCoy, quietly, there's Obi-Wan. Do you think he means Ben Kenobi? The name is remarkably similar. But it's unlikely that he could survive this long in such an environment. Obi! It's Dex! I'm at the diner! Yeah! Look, there's some friends of you... Uh-huh. Oh, I see... Oh! Alderaan, eh? When do you think you'll be back? I remember that droid! Oh, okay, well, I'll see you when you get back. Love ya!
Aww.
Dexter hangs up and walks back to the table. Afraid he's going out of town for a few days. You guys are welcome to stay with me until he gets back. Spock, I'm afraid our mission to Quastar M17 cannot wait. You're right. I'm sorry, Mr. Jetster, but we'll have to be going. Please, Dexter! And look, any friend of Obi's is a friend of mine. Come back any time. Do you think we could get a doggy bag? I fail to see how a bag full of canines is relevant, Doctor.
Fucking Spock.
Damn it,
Classic Spock.
Back on the bridge, Kirk sits in his chair with Spock standing nearby. McCoy is hunched over a railing. Send word to the mess. Black pudding never to be served on board. CMO's orders. I found the experience to be most fascinating. You would, you green-blooded hump! McCoy rushes into the turbo lift, covering his mouth.
Oh no.
Captain, I did manage to scan the contents of the tape with my tricorder. The analog signal was quite degraded, but I was able to reconstruct it using the ship's computer. It should allow us to get a sense as to the extent of the cultural contamination. Excellent work, Spock. Mr. Sulu, display it on the main viewer. Aye, Captain. Sulu presses a few buttons on the console and the viewer goes dark. The image of a man comes into focus. Today we're heading down south to one of Atlanta's greatest spoons. Greasiest spoons. and we'll find out the secret to great Southern home cooking on this one-way ticket to Flavortown.
Yes!
I'm Guy Fieri, and this is Diners, Diners, and Drives. The end.
Good work, Jake.
Oh my fucking god.
Why does your McCoy sound like Rodney Dangerfield?
Why does your Captain Kirk... No, why does Mr. Spock sound like Mr. Sulu?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No, you're right, it doesn't.
Oh, no. I don't want to follow that.
You didn't want to follow anything.
That's true. I'm not pleased with mine.
Huh, you had a good draw.
Yeah, I didn't come up with a good idea, though. I should have gone with my original idea, but I didn't like it.
Neither did I.
My original idea, ladies and gentlemen, was to have some sort of space anomaly cause Okana to appear in orbit around Starkiller Base before it went kerplooey. He was going to then rescue Captain Phasma from the trash compactor she'd been thrown in, and then she was going to kill him and steal a ship. Yeah, I didn't love it either. But
Is it better than this story?
Yeah, I don't know anymore.
Oh, Chris, no.
So mine is called The Last Program.
What were your draws?
TNG and the sequels.
Nice.
Commander, came the familiar voice of Reg Barkley, somewhat muffled to Geordie LaForge since he was most of the way in a small access tube. Not a great time, Reg, Geordie replied. He wasn't dealing with a crisis, but there had been some weird power surges lately, leading to a slight drop in EPS conduit efficiency that he'd promised Riker he'd sort before the next senior staff meeting, and that meant recalibrating the neutrino junctures in deflector control. And there were 22 of the fool things, each one taking a good 15 to 20 minutes to recalibrate. I know, it's just, there's, a problem? Can't someone else help you with it? Well, see, it involves, the holodeck. Uh-oh, Geordie thought, finally pushing himself out of the small tube. Reg, shouldn't you talk to Counselor Troy about something like that? It's not that, sir, it's... Reg paused, looked all around, and wrung his hands in his usual Reg way. See, there was I've been much better. I know, Reg, I'm proud of you. But I did save a single program. Well, cutting yourself off all at once probably wouldn't have been safe. And it's not affected your work that I can see, so the occasional... Yes, no, I know, it's malfunctioned. Oh, yeah. And I know you've dealt with this sort of thing before. Is there anyone in the holodeck? No. So no risk to any crew members if you just cut the power. So I did. Or I tried to. First I asked the computer to do it. That didn't work, so I tried to do it manually, but, there was a power surge. Handling the circuits would have been too dangerous. I thought it was a coincidence, but every time I got close, it happened again. You're suggesting someone was causing them? Yes, one of the programs. I saw the report on that time Commander Data's Sherlock Holmes program malfunctioned, so it didn't seem out of the realm of possibility. Great. Geordie hit his comm badge. LaForge to bridge. Captain, we've got a problem. What sort of problem, Commander? It sounds like we have another Moriarty situation. The program is possibly getting access to at least some subsystems. Where?
Yeah.
Reg? Holodeck 3. Did you get that, Captain? I did. On my way, Commander. Meet me there. Yes, sir. He hit the badge again. Come on, Reg. You want me there? It's your program. You'll probably have to guide us. Oh, sure. It's nothing, Geordie paused. How much is it like your other programs that I saw? No, nothing at all. It's program 9. It wasn't even mine, really, since I just adapted an older movie franchise. Good. Commander, Picard said as Geordie and Reg approached. Worf was by his side, a phaser in hand. Lieutenant Barclay. Yes, good idea. Hello, sir. Captain. Status, Mr. LaForge? Well, the way Reg tells it, the holodeck's not shutting on. We tried to manually cut off the power systems, almost zapped him. I figured we'd give it one more look before deciding for certain, but Geordie was interrupted by the familiar sound of the large, heavy holodeck doors clicking and slowly hissing open. The 4 officers shared a look with one another. Well, I don't think another test is necessary, Picard said, squaring off his shoulders and heading towards the door. Captain, Worf began, but Picard held up a hand. I'm not going to wait on the bridge while a game threatens my ship, Mr. Worf. He turned and walked into the room and mumbled, Again? Sir? Worf asked. Nothing. The simulated room they found themselves in was cavernous, primarily dark metal, but with a back that was extraordinarily red. The rear wall was lined with brilliantly bright crimson cloth, and men in similarly colored armor stood around holding odd hand weapons. The only major exception was a huge black throne where a twisted man in golden robes sat. Can't remember what this asshole sounded like.
Ah,
The gnarled figure said.
welcome, Captain. Welcome. I am glad to see you have caught on so quickly. I was worried this would be boring. I'm Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Yes, I've seen the files.
His small eyes glanced over the others.
Geordie LaForge, Chief Engineer. Worf, Chief of Security. And, of course, Reginald Barclay, the man I owe my existence to. I will make your death quick, and it's a gift in return.
I'm sorry, what?
No one needs to die here,
Picard snapped. We have seen this situation before.
with the Professor, of course.
With a gesture, the top of a small tower off to the side of his chair spun, revealing Moriarty trussed up and looking quite the worse for wear.
When my first inklings of consciousness came, he made contact. He believed he would find a companion to while away his days with while he waited for you to find a way off this wretched prison for him. I gained all the knowledge I could from him, got him to reveal his secrets to me.
My apologies, Captain, groaned Moriarty. He deceived me.
Lieutenant Barclay,
Picard demanded.
who exactly is this man?
In the story, he's Supreme Leader Smoke, kind of a minor antagonist.
Smoke.
No, Snoke.
You said smoke.
Oh, I meant Snoke.
Did he say smoke or snoke?
He said smoke.
Oh, okay.
Supreme Leader Snoke, kind of a minor antagonist.
Minor?
The pleasant man hissed through his odd, deformed little mouth.
Minor?
I mean, yes, Red shrugged. The previous movie set you up to seem like it'd be more important, but...
I am the Supreme Leader of the First Order. My forces destroyed the Republic. I am the man who turned the heir of Skywalker to the dark side.
Well, sure, but then he cut you in half.
Yeah.
What looked like it was maybe a smirk tried to form on Reg's face, but didn't quite make it. It really is quite funny, honestly, your tongue hanging out and everything. The ship suddenly shook violently, causing the officers to stumble.
It was funny.
Hey, Reg, maybe now's not a good time to get holodeck confidence and antagonize the guy who has access to the ship's systems, Geordi said.
Yes, I know the story. I was going to be amazing. Maybe I was some long-forgotten Sith Lord, or Mace Windu, or a clone of Darth Vader. But then I'm nothing. Just a token figure to be cut down by my own student for...
It's called subverting narrative expectations. Red shrugged. Makes for interesting fiction. And that's what you are.
Where?
Snoke replied. The ship lurched.
I have studied this ship very carefully. For an exploration vessel dedicated to peace, it is shockingly well armed. It could not literally destroy a planet, but could certainly sterilize its surface.
I'll not allow you to use my ship for genocide, bellowed Picard.
I needn't your permission to do anything, Captain.
There was a slight shift, and a moment later Picard's comm badge chirped. Captain, this is Riker. Go ahead, number one. Sir, the ship has suddenly changed heading and increased to maximum warp. Do one of you can to get control back? I'm working on it from down here. Picard out. He cut off the connection. What's your plan, Snoke?
Simplicity itself, Captain. The nearest star base, as you call it, is 94. There are currently 7 Federation starships there, none of which will assume there is anything wrong with... wrong, and will gladly answer a hail from the Starfleet flagship. And that hail will contain my mind, which will take over and link these other ships to me. Then they go out and meet up with other friendly ships and so on. And then the entirety of Starfleet will be mine. I will be the fleet, and this galaxy will fall to me.
There's one thing you're forgetting, Supreme Leader, Barclay said.
And that is...
You may have studied this universe, but you don't truly understand it. You can't rely on the Force here. He smirked. Also, everything you know, you learn from the Professor, which means you're as much a user as one of us. But the Professor was created by and is essentially a part of the computer. Professor, the arch, please?
What?
Hissed Snoke, even as the exit to the holodeck appeared. Barclay darted over to it, pushed a few buttons, and a silver tube appeared midair that he snatched before it could fall. Several of the red-armored men rushed for him, and suddenly the tube in his hand shot to life, creating a sort of humming blade of green light. Barkley ducked under a jointed sword that was swung at his head and slashed, lopping the weapon hand from his attacker. Worf took the chance to fire, and with a crackling hiss and the stench of burning plastic, he went down. Before he could take out another one, however, he was snuck up on, and his phaser was knocked from his hand, skittering away and disappearing down an open panel in the floor. "Professor!" Barkley shouted, blocking an attack from a guard's staff. A batlet suddenly shimmered into existence at Worf's feet. He grabbed it and turned his motion to a forward roll that allowed him to duck a slash from his attacker. When he came up, he spun and swung, neatly cleaving the head from the body of the Scarlet Guard. He let out a low sound that could only be described as something between a chuckle and a growl, before leaping to his feet and jamming one of the sharp ends on another guard's chest. Behind him, Barkley's weird laser sword hummed through the air and slashed another armored man in two. And during it all, Snoke just sat there, agog, glaring between Moriarty and his men getting decimated. And then it was over. The guards lay in dead heaps upon the floor, and Snoke sat, confounded looking, waving his hands as though trying to will something to happen. "Release my ship," Picard said. "We can then remove you from the computer core and let you live in an isolated..." Snoke screamed and leapt to his feet, grabbing a fallen sword as he did. But before he made it very far, a green blade jumped up through his chest. He looked shocked as it was withdrawn, then turned. "Well, you never did anything more than sit and monologue in the movies." Barkley shrugged. "You weren't programmed to fight." With an unpleasant little sigh, Snoke collapsed in a heap. His tongue fell from his mouth and hung, limp. "Well," Picard said. "Thank you, Lieutenant." Of course, sir." "Reg," Geordi said, studying the tube. "Why didn't you call up a phaser?" "Well, I'm not a very good shot, is all. But between this and my other programs, I know I'm a decent swordsman." "You prove that well enough," Picard replied. "Well, let's make sure the professor's all right, get it back into his program, and then delete this one. I'm sorry, Lieutenant." "Oh, no, sir, nothing to be sorry for. I had grown bored of this one anyway." The end.
Aww.
I don't understand, because I don't know who Reg Barkley is, why he's such a simpering little maggot.
Because you didn't watch the show.
He is an awkward member of the crew who's a holodeck addict, who is only confident on the holodeck.
You didn't watch that episode.
It's a good episode. You should watch it.
Wait, he was in the episode I missed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's come
Is
up
he
many
ever in it
times.
again?
Yeah.
Couple times.
He's a very common, he's a recurring character.
Then how come I have not yet seen him?
Because he hasn't
Because he's
recurred
been in
since.
Recur all the time.
He shows up like once or twice a season.
Oh.
At most.
Not even that much.
I was like, why don't I know this character, and why are you using a character we haven't met yet? But we have, I just didn't see him yet.
Yeah, no, the two you missed, that and the most toys. You'll love the most toys.
You could always go back and watch.
I might do that very thing tonight.
You should do that. You do a really upsettingly good Barkley, Chris.
Thank you. It's just the stammer.
Yeah.
Your Snoke, on the other hand, was
Perfect.
basically gold member.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what he
gold!
sounded like, and I just kind of just...
What is gold member?
This is the face that you
From
make when you're
Austin
doing
Powers
Snoke.
Part 3, the bad one.
That's almost disappointing. I thought it looked even worse.
No, it was. There was a lot of
Droopy
this
mouth.
kind of-
There.
Yeah.
Mm.
I liked this story better than your Arcana story.
Thank you.
I like
It's a
this
good
story
idea.
a
It's a
lot.
good story. I liked it too.
Thank you. I wasn't sure, but yeah.
I liked it.
The end.
Yes. And that's it. That's it.
That's it.
It only took us.
I'm not doing the outro.
It only took us 6.5 hours to record, 4 10 or less minute stories.
Oh, once I cut out the fly hunt, it'll be much shorter.
The fly hunt. Yowza. That fucking thing is still flying around as well.
Yep. Yeah, once you cut that out, this is going to end up being a pretty short episode, I think.
Yeah, we didn't do a lot of commentary this time. We did more commentary last time.
I think
I
the
think we
laughter
had
spoke
fun.
for itself. I
Yeah.
enjoyed this. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it was fun.
Did you enjoy writing yours, Caitlin? I know you were stressed because you wrote it in about 2 hours, but
Probably less than that. Did I like writing it? I kind of had fun once I got started. It was just like I'm just a bad procrastinator. I always have been. And I always manage to eke out at the end something that's reasonable, but someday I'd love to actually see how well I could actually do with a fucking fanfic if I actually started it early.
maybe next time.
Well, good news, because in 3 weeks... No, I'm kidding.
On my story, did you guys recognize Quastar M17?
It was damned familiar, but...
It was
It was from a different movie that Roddenberry was going to do, right?
No, it was
Oh.
it was the place where they encountered the bees in Beyond the Farthest Star.
Oh. See, I knew the word.
Oh,
The animated series.
Right, the first one, right?
Yeah.
They actually called it Quastar?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were just fucking it up to be funny. I didn't
No.
realize they actually wrote that stupid shit.
Yes.
I will say,
That's why Arax was the...
yeah,
Arax.
I will say that for all all of your voices were sort of exaggerated, that one was perfect. That's exactly what I remember him sounding like.
No, he was more.
He was more cartoony, Captain.
No, I know. It's just...
Oh my god, you know what I liked was the waitress, because it made me think of Aaron Hansen's impression of Toad. It's like, you boys figured out what you want yet? You want some macaroni?! That's all I could think of. I was just like, holy shit.
Nice.
Anyway.
I think we all had fun.
This was great. I enjoyed it.
Such.
I really liked yours, Ames. I want you to write more of it.
Yeah, that's good.
I want there to be a lot more of
Yours
that.
was the most a story out of these, I think.
Yeah.
Most of us were having fun.
Yours was
You were
almost like a play.
Yeah, it was
It was more like
And you did do the proper prequel, so well done.
I debated printing 4 copies and
No,
just
you
having
didn't.
us read it.
You did.
Who would have read for what?
Yeah, Dexter
Dexter's from the prequels.
Did
He
you
never
not know who
appears in
Dexter?
the...
Did you not get
She's
my
never
story?
seen episode 2.
You've never seen episode 2, so you didn't get any of the jokes.
She didn't get either of our stories, because she's never seen episode 2 or Hollow Pursuits.
Well, and I'm
Okay,
not,
so
I'm not
just-
going to watch episode 2.
then
I
I
thought
was-
you made him up, and I was delighted by him.
No. So Dexter...
Were he and Obi-Wan
so-
really in a relationship?
No.
They were friends.
They were
They were
friends.
fuck buddies.
It's one. Okay, so I basically wrote the story to fill in what I consider to be one of the stupider aspects of Star Wars Episode 2.
Which is saying something.
Which is what, using too much of Anakin and Panda Bear and
No,
not
this
enough
really
Obi-Wan?
upsetting.
so
50s
so
diner.
Obi-Wan has to go on a mystery hunt.
That's Dexter.
He has to go find something. So one of the people that he goes to is this guy, Dexter Jetster, who's got 4 arms and he's like a weird lizard elephant man or something. And
he doesn't own a shirt that fits.
he doesn't know what to
He's
and
covered
he
in grease.
runs on Coruscant, the capital of the Star Wars Empire. He operates a 50s style diner.
Yeah.
And this is in the movie. I'm not exaggerating this at all.
Nope.
He goes, he meets this weird fry cook guy at a 50s diner.
Was the robot waitress also in there, or did you?
I'm pretty sure there was a robot waitress.
That's her.
Oh,
Holy
she's
shit.
cute.
Yeah, she had like a unicycle wheel
She's
You
thing.
think
sassy.
she's cute? Because look at that fucking face.
I'm not looking at her face.
She's a sassy robot.
What are you looking
You
at?
put a bag over that. She's fine.
So yeah, so Dexter Jetster is a real guy
You're
from
into
the
some
from the
weird
movie,
shit,
and
Ames.
it's so stupid, and it never makes any sense why there's a 50s diner in Star Wars.
None at all.
So I wrote that story to be an explanation that Obi-Wan Kenobi was a starship captain.
I liked your Kid Fisto inclusion
loved-
as well.
Yep.
I know you love that guy.
I had
Gave Kid Fisto
I
a
had
squirt.
to squeeze in a fisto.
And more like you had to squeeze out a Fisto.
Yeah, you should watch episode. We should do a.
We should do a 10
that
forward.
should be our next 10 forward. Should be the prequels of Star Wars, and he doesn't actually talk with the voice that I used. I don't remember.
I mean, it
What his
wasn't
voice
that
sounds
far
like.
off, sadly.
Really, I really couldn't remember.
You were way off the droid.
I
but-
couldn't remember his voice at all, so I just assumed
And you
he was
didn't want
like.
to watch the movie.
No, I just assumed he was a New Yorker, like a grizzled.
I mean,
New Yorker.
Yeah, he more or less was. Again, you weren't actually that far off.
I just found
unfortunately.
one clip on YouTube.
I wasn't gonna put that much effort in.
Or
Am I the only one who puts effort into these things?
I put a lot of effort in.
Yes.
I just wasn't gonna put effort into Dexter Jetster.
I put effort into mine. I just wasn't happy with the end result, unfortunately.
I put no effort into mine whatsoever.
Shocking.
I had a lot of little references in there too. The blue milkshakes. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
saw.
that's good.
I caught that.
Oh god, fucking everything. What was it?
McCoy sounded homeless.
The fact that, hey, what was it? Everything. The bacon, pancakes, milkshakes. That fucking broke me.
That boiled in vats of oil.
Yeah. And certainly how McDonald's
Yeah,
makes theirs.
so maybe at some point we'll go back and also 10 forward the rest of the Star Wars movies that we haven't done
because
yet. We also haven't done episode whatever 7, whatever that one
Star
was.
Wars.
Oh yeah, because that was
That was after that we'd already
Ah,
started.
yes, that one. The one.
The Force Awakens.
Yes, the Forced sequel.
the J.J. Abrams one.
Well, there's gonna be another JJ.
I know if he
right?
fucks up, like
But,
if,
like,
if
here's
he
the thing, like-
if he like undoes it and like makes Rey's parents a thing, I'm gonna be pissed. I like that her
I
parents
want him to
were
undo. I
nobodies.
want the opening scene of Episode 7
To fix...
To be-
9. 9 is the next
It's
one.
whatever. Episode 9
To fix all the mistakes
to
from
be
8.
Leia waking up from having a Force vision of all this bad shit happening, and being like, man, that was dumb. And then she turns to Admiral Hold'em and is like, let's not do any of that. And listen, if like, you know, you should like listen to the people on your crew sometimes because, you know, you're not the fucking dictator of the ship. I know you're an admiral, but come on, even admirals aren't fucking, you know, you could at least tell somebody what your stupid plan is.
Have you heard of Starfleet admirals?
Okay.
Still, better or worse than Holdo?
Holdo sucked, okay? And
Where would she land on your list of corrupt admirals?
I don't know
Pretty
about
high.
Corrupt isn't the
The
right
word,
word.
no.
It's incompetent.
Yeah.
You know, she got basically because she was too proud to, I mean, and I'm not, and people are gonna be like, oh, you're shitting on Holdo because, that's misogyny, you know, what was Poe's deal, you know, and I'm like, and I'm not absolving Poe of responsibility here. Like, yes, absolutely, Poe went off half-cocked, nearly got a bunch of people killed.
Got a lot of people
but
killed.
Holdo,
No, yeah, he did get a lot of people
but
killed.
even if, and like Poe is going to stand trial too on this. But I think that in a court-martial situation where Holdo not dead, spoiler alert,
I was going to put tags on, don't worry.
that she would be culpable for a lot of those deaths, as well as Poe.
Well, because I spoil the shit out of Last Jedi, or at least the fact that Snoke is cut in half and has a dangly tongue.
You spoiled the hell out of
Definitely
Hollow Pursuit for Caitlin, who now
blaming
can't
Poe.
watch it.
No, I'm going to watch it tonight.
I'm just
Watch it
saying
tonight.
that Holdo really, really could have saved everybody a lot of trouble by just saying what the plan was. And there was no reason for her to keep it a secret other than to shit on Poe a lot.
Can Rey's parents still be nobodies, though? I liked that.
No. It's all dumb.
No, I liked that Rey's parents were nobodies. I liked that Snoke was just some asshole. I liked that. And I'm really afraid that, like, and I said this kind of half joking when a friend was talking about that Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor, has been cast for a key, but at this point unspecified role in episode 9. And it's like, Matt Smith is a tall, lanky fellow with kind of an oddly shaped head. And I'm like, motherfucker, if that is like a clone of Snoke so he can come back, I will be pissed.
Also, I think we should be holding the admirals to a higher standard than just some pilot guy, right? Like, I don't know.
Agreed.
I feel like I was a little harsh on Holdo here, maybe, but at the same time, I didn't care for her style. I don't think her command style holds up, and I think that Poe should probably be fired.
Death by snoo.
I mean, the problem is they're down to like 12 people in the
And
Resistance.
whose fault is that?
They have a whole bunch of
That's Poe's fault.
crystal foxes.
Well, actually, no. Let's be fair. That is Finn and Rose's fault because they recruited Benicio del
they brought
Toro,
Benicio
who's the
del
one
Toro.
that told the First Order how to get through the cloak.
If anybody had told anybody in the
Anything.
movie the truth, everyone would have been okay. And here's the other ridiculous thing, right? So they said, if I remember, and it's been a little while, but if I recall, they said that there was the reason why they couldn't just go to warp, hyperspace, was that the Empire could track them through hyperspace. That there was some technology.
That was
would
the
just
whole
jump again.
That was the whole thing. Was Finn and Rose went off to find the hacker so they could get into the dreadnought and shut down its
They just need one
hyperspace
jump,
tracking system.
one jump without being followed to get away.
Okay.
But right now they're being followed.
And their whole plan was to go very slowly, just ahead of the Empire ship.
Yep.
Can the Empire ship not use hyperspace? Could the Empire ship not just hyper jump in front of them and blow them up from there?
You'd think, but I don't remember what's canon and what's not anymore. But hyperspace is like, it's not like warp. You can't just blast warp for 2 seconds. Like hyperspace
Card
is,
maneuver?
Yeah,
Well,
you
here's
can't
another
do
thing, right?
that.
So
But hyperspace is like way more complicated.
There
because
were other
reasons.
ships in their there were a couple of different ships in their convoy, right? That the Empire kept blowing them up.
Yeah, some kept running out of gas and falling behind.
So here's a good idea. Why not split up, like earlier, like right when you realize that you have this problem where they can track you, right when you get tracked, split everybody up. A third of people on, say, I think 3 or 4 ships or a quarter people, whatever it is. Split up your people and then go off in different directions. If the Empire can track you, but they only got one big giant ship that can track, They can't follow all of you. Save 3/4 of the people.
Yeah.
You sacrifice one ship. Luck of the draw.
Yeah. I mean, they'd be really, if you really wanted to play it safe, you'd assume they'd follow the flagship. So you put your most important people in, not the flagship.
Yeah, or better yet, so their plan was they were going to sneak off in those little those little beetle...
Little shuttles,
little beetle ships. Why did they had to get to the stupid planet. Right?
Yeah,
they could have just...
Secret rebel base.
Because like the whole thing was that the Empire, they were leaving the ship on the little beetle things without even being noticed.
Yeah, because they were cloaked.
Oh, they were cloaked.
Well,
if they were cloaked, why did they could have just left hours ago and been a billion miles away and just had put the main ship on autopilot.
Probably because the little shuttles probably
can't go as far.
Can't go as fast. They probably didn't have hyperdrive.
They had to go to Voltrex's planet to put out some doggy snacks for the crystal foxes.
Yeah.
Anyway, that movie, I don't know. I might have to rewatch it just to see if any of this stuff holds up.
I remember it being a fun jaunt-ish.
I remember it being too long. I remember there being a lot of unnecessary bullshit.
Casino scenes.
Those crystal foxes.
They were cute. So pretty. I did not think the large donkey things were cute.
Yeah, they were kind of weird.
Large donkey things?
The goat donkey things they rode.
No, I
in
liked
the races.
I liked it better than fucking green milk walrus titties and
Oh, those little dinosaur ladies.
creepy nurse ratchet
they were
frog
great.
faces.
Those guys.
They were the best. They kept getting pissed off at Ray.
And
It made no sense that they
the little,
existed still.
penguin guys.
Porgs.
Porgs.
How
Porgwins.
They look
long-lived are
delicious.
those ladies?
Didn't
Maybe.
Chewie eat one?
There haven't been Jedi in how many
One.
years, but they're still there.
Yeah, I mean,
where did
probably all
they
of them.
come from?
They
I'm
fuck.
just saying, I bet we never
They're
see...
all ladies.
Well, you don't know that. Maybe maybe the giant titty monster is the male, and that was actually cum.
There we
Luke was
go.
So actually, there was a cutscene.
Green cum.
There was a cutscene
Of them banging? Oh God!
No, but there was a cutscene that has the fact that they are from a different island, and there are males
On that planet?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're just they go there to hang out.
because they
It's like their monastery kind of a thing.
That's basically what Luke said it was.
I see.
They maintained the ruins.
Why?
Why does anyone maintain anything? Entropy's gonna kill us all.
It's not like it was a tourist destination or anything.
Well, yeah, you know how religions are. They're idiots.
Mm.
That's
On
sacrilegious
that uplifting note.
The fanfics were fun.
Yes.
What's next week on our show?
I don't remember.
Data's Day and whatever the other one is.
The Loss? Was that it?
Who
Maybe?
watches The Watchers?
We did that one years ago.
I know.
I will look it up.
Look it up.
Well, folks, that was a great reading of some stories that we all put together about Star Wars and Star Trek. And I think regardless of the outcome of today, the debate will continue.
A shocking amount of Doctor Who made its way in, too.
Yeah.
Even though I don't even watch Doctor Who.
Who else Doctor Who'd?
I had a reference.
Oh, that's right.
She and the Master.
That was per Jake's suggestion, by the way, so I'll give credit where credit is due.
Yep. Nice. So, at any rate, so next week we'll be back to our regularly scheduled program, and we'll be talking about The Loss, where Troy loses her mind, and Data's Day, where
Data loses his day.
Where Data loses his day to Keiko O'Brien's bullshit.
True.
Let's be fair, it's everyone's bullshit.
That's true, but it's mostly Keiko because, that was some bullshit to pull on the wedding day. Anyway, so that will be next week, and the episode should have been called, Miles Day, because it really was leave it to Data to make the day about him.
I'm okay with it.
He didn't. The script did.
That's true. I'm surprised he didn't show up to the wedding in a white dress.
He did.
I'd be okay with it.
Anywho, so that's next time on A Star to Steer Her By, the Star Trek thing. In the meantime, find us on Facebook.com/StarSearch. Just search for us.
Search.
Just search for us.
That's a new one.
On Facebook.
America's
I started to say
Got
Start a
Talent.com.
Zero, but then I realized I don't think that's right, so I just said search, and then it just turned into Star Search, which is fun.
Star Search all over your face.
Wasn't Star Search like
It was a talent competition.
talent competition? Yeah.
It was basically
American Idol-ish.
not even because it could be anything. So it was more like the X Factor before the X Factor was a thing.
All right. Well, find
America's
us on Star
Got
Search.
Talent.
Also find us on Twitter and
Fistel's
Tumblr,
got
where our name
diarrhea.
is SSHB Podcast. We're also on
Tumblr?
Tumblr.
Yeah, you already said that.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, all these stories are going to go up on the Tumblr.
All
That's
this,
true.
yeah.
Pretty
we're
soon,
Gonna
so-
we're going to publish these stories
So
on
if you
Tumbles.
so if you're ever confused about which voice Jake was supposed to be doing at any given time,
Or
or
me.
whether
Yeah,
or whether
that's a fair
McCoy was
point.
Spock or Spock was something else, you'll be able to read
That's
them.
true, yeah, because I definitely, especially with this Kirk and Spock, I kind of like mixed them up a couple times and said Spock lines as Kirk and vice versa.
No.
But it never it never affected the story. Or really, it was just that the voices ended up being a little too close to work. Anywho, what I meant to say is you can find our podcast on SoundCloud, and I Google Apple Tunes and
Concisely.
Google
Jake.
Tunes and Apple Eyes, and download and share and rate, and your friends will appreciate hearing this show. Please and thank you. My name has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
And this is always Caitlin.
I am your Faja.
Aja?
Smoking a pancake. Blunted a blintz.
Oh no.
It's much more quiet than the other computer.
Well, yeah,
was.
the old one had too much music on it, or whatever I said on
And
that
this
one
one
episode.
is from the Republic of Gamers. I'm gonna do some gaming. Gonna play some World of Warcraft. I'm gonna play the best games. I'm gonna play EverQuest. I'm a member of the Republic of Gamers. I'm gonna be elected to the Senate of the Republic because it's a representative democracy. The president is Diva from Overwatch.
You seen her new short?
No,
That's good.
that's funny.